Tonight, the stunning decision from the Supreme Court on the right to bear arms. In a 6-3 vote, the justices ruling that the Second Amendment does give Americans the right to carry a handgun outside of the home, and striking down a New York law that requires a special permit to do so. President Biden quickly condemning the ruling, critics saying it will now be difficult to implement new gun laws, just as the Senate moves ahead with what would be the most significant gun legislation in decades. Also tonight, the January 6th committee presenting its case on how former President Trump tried to use the Department of Justice to overturn the election. Former top DOJ officials taking the stand, saying Trump threatened to oust his acting attorney general and place loyalist Jeffrey Clark in charge of the agency. Plus, the manhunt tonight for a so-called master of disguise, the man wanted in connection to the murder of an American woman in Mexico. But authorities say he's known for using multiple aliases and already managed to slip away from U.S. agents, what the FBI is telling us tonight. Deadly protests. New video shows riot police using tear gas and smoke grenades in Ecuador as thousands of protesters close in on the country's legislative building. The demands they're urging the president to meet. Rush hour rescue. The woman falling onto subway tracks in New York after suffering a medical emergency. 2 officers pulling her on the platform before a train pulled in. Those officers and the woman they saved all speaking to Top Story. And long-lost pen pals, the child in New York, writing to a soldier in Vietnam. Their first meeting, 5 decades in the making. Top Story starts right now. Good evening, I'm Gabe Gutierrez in for Tom. We begin tonight with that Supreme Court ruling that could shift the legal landscape on gun rights in this country. The High Court striking down a New York law that requires a special license to carry concealed handguns outside the home. The 6 conservative justices siding with gun advocates, the 3 liberal justices dissenting, mentioning a list of recent mass shootings in this country, including those in Uvalde and Buffalo. President Biden also slamming the ruling, saying it, quote, contradicts both common sense and the Constitution. The decision just hours before a bipartisan gun violence prevention bill cleared a key procedural vote in the Senate today, making way for passage this week. But tonight, it's clear the nation remains deeply divided over gun access. So let's get right to NBC's justice correspondent, Pete Williams, who leads us off from Washington.
For the first time in American history, the Supreme Court ruled that when the Second Amendment says there's a right to keep and bear arms, that means a right to carry a handgun outside the home for self-defense. The court struck down a New York law that required showing a special need beyond a general desire for self-defense to get a permit for carrying a concealed gun in public. By a vote of 6-3, the court said no other constitutional right requires showing some special need to exercise it, and that's not how the Second Amendment works. Writing for the majority, Justice Clarence Thomas said local governments can still ban guns from sensitive places, but he said that doesn't simply mean anywhere the public congregates. And Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh said states can still impose licensing requirements, like background and mental health checks and firearms training.
The Supreme Court today said you can't require someone to justify why they want to conceal carry a gun, but it was leaving open where the state could restrict these guns and who could have them.
The decision will have an immediate impact on New York and 5 other states with similar restrictions, but in the ruling's most far-reaching language, it said a concern for public safety isn't enough to justify new gun controls. Justice Thomas said gun regulations must be, quote, consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearms regulation.
I think this language is going to make it really difficult to justify gun laws going forward and will lead to courts striking down a wide variety of gun safety laws.
In dissent, the court's 3 liberals listed 9 recent mass shootings, including at the school in Uvalde, Texas, and the supermarket in Buffalo, New York. Justice Stephen Breyer said courts must consider the serious dangers and consequences of gun violence that lead states to regulate firearms.
And Pete Williams joins us now from Washington. Pete, what does today's ruling tell us about the makeup of the court right now?
Well, I think it tells us that the court's new conservative supermajority is flexing its muscles this term. Remember that the court has ducked this question of whether there's a constitutional right to have guns outside the home for 14 years but this term the conservatives decided that they had the votes to answer it, and I think we'll see the same 6-3 voting pattern in the decisions yet to come.
So on that point of decisions yet to come, what other big rulings are we expecting and how soon?
Well, the biggest one, of course, is on abortion, whether the court will say that Roe v. Wade should be overturned. This is the case from Mississippi that would ban abortion after 15 weeks. We've also got some religion cases, one from a praying coach that I think you may have covered at one time in Washington State who prayed on the 50-yard line after games. Is that an endorsement of religion? And then whether President Biden can shut down the so-called Remain in Mexico program that forced people who are waiting for asylum to wait on the other side of the border in Mexico. Those are the cases. On when, I don't know. We'll get more decisions tomorrow, again on Monday, and I still don't know the last day of the term yet.
Busy time, Pete. Pete Williams in Washington. Thanks so much. Officials in New York and all over the country are responding to the ruling, and the state's governor saying it is a deeply disturbing day, and New York City's mayor calling the decision an outrage. Both are vowing to pursue new gun laws in response. With gun violence surging across the country, tonight some city leaders are blasting the Supreme Court's decision.
We cannot allow New York to become the Wild Wild West. That is unacceptable.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams says local officials are weighing their legal options. The NYPD has recovered more than 3,000 guns so far this year, and gun arrests have hit a 28-year high.
The decision ignores the shocking crisis of gun violence every day, engulfing not only New York, but engulfing our entire country.
In a state still reeling from last month's Buffalo mass shooting that left 10 people dead, a defiant Governor Kathy Hochul is considering calling a special session of the legislature to come up with new regulations.
We can have restrictions on speech. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. But somehow there's no restrictions allowed on the Second Amendment.
But the president of the organization that brought the lawsuit welcomed the ruling, which he says protects the Second Amendment.
The time has come for this. The judges decided, and they're going to have to live with it.
Other states with similar laws to New York's are now scrambling to defend them.
What works in a rural state like Wyoming doesn't necessarily work in the densest state in America, like New Jersey.
Do you expect more legal challenges to the laws in New Jersey as a result of this ruling?
Yes, I think the Supreme Court invited open season on challenges to gun laws.
As the High Court struck down some gun restrictions,
the yeas are 65.
Today, the Senate cleared a key procedural vote on others, advancing a bipartisan bill to combat gun violence. A final vote could come tomorrow. Officials here in New York were quick to point out that it's not open season for carrying guns in public. Private businesses can still prohibit weapons, and there will still be background checks. But we expect lawmakers to debate what exactly a sensitive area means where guns can be banned. Is that subways, hospitals? All that is still an open question right now. Now to Capitol Hill and President Trump's pressure campaign to overturn the election. The January 6th committee holding its 5th hearing today and looking into former top DOJ officials who say the president threatened to oust his acting attorney general and install a department loyalist. Garrett Hake has the latest.
The January 6th committee tonight laying out their case that former President Trump attempted to force the Department of Justice to help him overturn the 2020 election, pressuring senior officials to make claims of widespread fraud that did not exist.
President Trump ultimately wanted the Department of Justice to say the election was, quote, corrupt and, quote, leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
A quote supported by a witness's handwritten notes. Mr. Trump weighed replacing the acting Attorney General Jeff Rosen with a lower-level official, an environmental lawyer named Jeff Clark, who had drafted a letter to key states, falsely claiming the DOJ had found significant fraud there.
And when he finished discussing what he planned on doing, I said, good, congratulations, you just admitted a first step or act you take as Attorney General would be committing a felony and violating Rule 6C. You're clearly the right candidate for this job.
I made the point that Jeff Clark is not even competent to serve as the Attorney General. And I said, that's right, you're an environmental lawyer. How about you go back to your office and we'll call you when there's an oil spill?
I thought Clark's proposal was nuts. I mean, as a guy said at a certain point, listen, the best I can tell is the only thing you know about environmental and elections challenges is they both start with E. And based on your answer tonight, I'm not even certain you know that.
DOJ leadership threatened to resign en masse.
The leadership will be gone. Jeff Clark will be left leading a graveyard.
Fifth, and executive privilege.
Clark repeatedly invoked his Fifth Amendment rights when questioned by the committee.
Fifth.
Federal agents searching Clark's Virginia home on Wednesday, seizing his electronics. Committee evidence showing Clark was recommended to the president by Pennsylvania Republican Scott Perry, who was among several members of Congress who testimony showed later asked for presidential pardons.
Mr. Perry asked for a pardon too. I'm sorry. Mr. Perry, did he talk to you directly? Yes, he did.
Perry had previously called claims he asked for a pardon a, quote, soulless lie. Top DOJ officials debunking conspiracy theories pushed by the president and his aides, including a YouTube video suggesting Italian satellites were used to switch Trump votes to Biden, flagged by Chief of Staff Mark Meadows.
I emailed the acting attorney general and I said pure insanity, which was my impression of the video, which was patently absurd.
While Trump allies dismissed the committee's work as a Democratic distraction.
It's a political committee, and the one thing I do know, and the American public knows, gas has gone up $1.86 a gallon since the day Nancy Pelosi announced that committee.
And Garrett Haake joins us now from Capitol Hill. Garrett, what are the next steps for the committee?
Well, Gabe, after a couple weeks of presenting their findings, the committee's going to go back into investigatory mode now for the next few weeks. They spoke to a documentary filmmaker today who had been embedded within the Trump campaign in White House during that pivotal period. They've also obtained all of his footage, which was probably more important than his testimony. And they continue to pursue more testimony, particularly from former White House counsel Pat Cipollone, who was called out in Tuesday's hearing and name-dropped in today's. Clearly a figure the committee wants to get to come sit down and give formal testimony before they complete their presentation sometime in the middle of July.
Garrett Haake on the Hill. Garrett, thanks. Moving on now to other stories on Capitol Hill. Congressional committee is investigating the federal pandemic response, and a public hearing began today with a video compilation of former President Trump misrepresenting the reality of the pandemic. Take a listen.
The disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute. 1 minute, and is there a way we can do something like that by injection? I've read a lot about hydroxy. I happen to think that it has an impact.
What? You were saying it was going to disappear.
It is going to disappear. It's going to disappear. Cases are up. Why are cases up? Because we test more than anybody in history. They hate it when I say we're rounding the corner.
Now, standing by Trump's side in a precarious position during those moments was Dr. Deborah Birx, who served as the White House coronavirus response coordinator. Today, she testified about the missteps she witnessed the administration make as she attempted to curb the pandemic. The committee asking about one of former President Trump's advisors during the pandemic, Dr. Scott Atlas, who Birx testified advocated for a dangerous herd immunity approach.
Dr. Atlas was suggesting that the nation should stop taking any steps to mitigate the spread of the virus and let it run rampant throughout our communities. And you also wrote that Dr. Atlas believes that, quote, case identification is bad for the president's reelection. In a health conversation, they're putting a reelection over solid health. Well, did you agree with Dr. Atlas's a diagnosis that you should stop testing because an election's coming?
Of course not.
Is it accurate to say that President Trump's approach, his poor approach, is responsible for the deaths of over 100,000 Americans?
I want to make it clear that I think our starting strategy should always be no American dies from COVID and no American has severe hospitalizations from COVID. I think that we weren't doing that effectively in that first year, mostly related to communication. And I fear today that we're still not effectively using our tools across all of America, particularly in rural America.
Dr. Birx having a lot to answer there. And NBC News medical contributor Dr. Vin Gupta joins us now. Dr. Gupta, you heard there Dr. Birx testifying that the initial response was lacking, that the early stages of the pandemic were influenced by President Trump's political aspirations and a desire to downplay the dangers of COVID. So what are the long-lasting ramifications we're seeing from that strategy?
Well, Gabe, I'm 2.5 years in, as you and I have seen and talked about, we're still feeling those impacts. I mean, what Dr. Birx didn't talk enough about was the role that she played in essentially giving a white coat shelter protection to the communication that was coming out of the White House at that point in time. Those critical months, March to May of 2020. When hydroxychloroquine was discussed, she didn't push back. Dr. Fauci didn't necessarily push back in the strongest of terms. You weren't hearing a lot of clarity about was this or was this not an airborne respiratory virus. Turns out they knew in February. There was a lot of confusion out there that if physicians on the team up front said, you know what, we're going to take a stand even if it means we lose our jobs, we would not have seen this phenomenon, Gabe, that we've seen over the last 2 years of doctors actually propagating misinformation. Now, thankfully, what we're seeing is that there's a deterrence. If you do it as a doc, if you're going to put out misinformation, you will risk your license. That deterrence didn't exist 24 months ago. It does now, which is a good thing.
So, Dr. Gupta, while deaths have not been at the level seen before, we are still seeing the average number of cases average about 100,000. So what of the current administration, where has the Biden administration fallen short, do you think?
Unfortunately, still on communication. The thing that plagued the Trump administration the most is one of the big issues that continues to this day with the current administration. We spent the last year plus discussing why you should get vaccinated to the American people. It's caused a lot of confusion. Omicron forced us to reckon with a basic concept, Gabe. You get vaccinated to keep yourself out of the hospital, to prevent your lungs from looking terrible, scarred with disfiguring and pneumonia. That is not the message that came out clearly at the beginning of the Biden administration. So that's why you had Dr. Walensky appear to flip-flop about why you should get vaccinated, whether you could take your mask off. If we had just a simple message about why you get vaccinated, the Biden administration had that on point, we would not be having these endless debates on boosters. We wouldn't have all this skepticism on the effectiveness of the vaccines that still exists across a third of the adult population. Lots of problems here that were preventable. Also, test to treat, great in principle, poorly executed. A lot of people that need this drug cannot get it through the existing test to treat paradigm. So that's been another area that needs optimization.
Now, picking up on that point on vaccine skepticism and turning now to children and the vaccine, Florida-based supermarket giant Publix announcing yesterday it won't offer the newly approved vaccine for children under 5, quote, at this time. So what does this signal about how the nation is approaching vaccinating children specifically?
Well, Publix is wrong. Publix is not in a position to countermand public health recommendations from the CDC and the FDA. The fact that they feel emboldened to do that shows us the times that we're in. This is the byproduct of what Dr. Birx and others essentially laid the groundwork for now 24 months ago. We're seeing consequences downstream. Publix saying that they're going to take a stance that is contradictory to clinical evidence showing that these vaccines in children are very safe, extremely effective at preventing even a positive test, much less ending up in the hospital with COVID. And yet Publix here, a groceries chain, is taking a stand against this. It doesn't make any sense. It's dangerous. And what you're seeing, Gabe, is the progressive withering away of any credibility or writ of influence from our leading public health agencies. It's a problem now. It's a problem certainly as we enter a potential winter surge. And then we're talking about monkeypox potentially being a public health emergency. Future pandemics. This precedence here is incredibly dangerous. Public should reverse their position. It's not the right move.
Dr. Vin Gupta, thanks so much. Overseas now to Ukraine, where the fighting in the eastern portion of the country rages on. Civilians trapped in the war zone finding few resources to help them escape. One group of social workers daring to attempt the dangerous mission, but suffering losses of their own along the way. Elson Barber has their story.
As Russian forces pound eastern Ukraine, civilians desperately search for a way out. For some, the help comes from an unexpected source: social workers.
We have more than 3,000 social workers. Our aim is that life is priority #1 in Ukraine.
Dmytro Sherembe is head of 100% Life, a nonprofit focused on equitable healthcare for HIV-positive Ukrainians. But today, the organization is a vital part of wartime efforts to deliver aid and evacuate civilians from the front lines.
Our foundation in every region began providing help to the civilians and the military. We were providing with medicine and food, whatever people needed. We are doing sometimes the missions that the military cannot do. We evacuate people with just simple ships through the river.
It's come at a cost. On March 30th, one of their convoys came under attack on the way to Chernihiv.
The Russian military drone spotted our convoy, and they knew that it was humanitarian aid. All the cars were burned, and we just had one man survived.
But they press on.
Unfortunately, sometimes we lose our people, but this is part of the war. Recently, we lost 3 men who have saved 150 people before that. Everyone will remember the medic, everyone will remember the soldier, no one will remember the social worker.
Their jobs are full of new challenges, but in some ways, war hasn't changed it at all.
Our foundation's name is 100% Life. This is our mission. This is our goal.
Russian forces have reportedly deployed all of their reserve units to the fighting happening in and around the eastern city of Severodonetsk. This community was attacked by Russian forces weeks ago, but the rubble that remains, the bullet marks still over all of these windows of what used to be a car wash, is a reminder of why groups like 100% Life are still so vitally important. Gabe?
Allison Barber in eastern Ukraine for us. Allison, thanks so much to you and your team. Back here at home, a dangerous heat wave is slamming the southeast. 28 million people remain under alerts in the region. Temperatures soaring into the sweltering triple digits and dozens of cities sweating through record highs. Let's get right to Al Roker. So, Al, is there any relief on the way?
Looking toward the weekend and into the early part of next week, Gabe, we will see some. But in the meantime, as you've mentioned, we've got 28 million people from Texas all the way to Florida under heat advisories, heat watches, heat warnings. Here's the problem. Look at some of these temperatures. 127 million of us had highs today above 90 degrees. 30 million had highs today above 100. And when you've got temperatures that hot, you're not going to see those temperatures drop back at night that much, and that's a big problem. So we could see 24 records of what we're talking about, of record high low temperatures. So that means it'll only drop down to 80 in Dallas. That's 7 degrees above average for a low temperature. 75 in Meridian, Tallahassee 77, Tampa 83. Friday afternoon, we're looking at records possible for Tampa, Albany, Georgia at 101, their record 104. Dallas could set a record. Same in San Antonio, Birmingham, and New Orleans. But there could be some weekend relief as a frontal system pushes in, that dome of high pressure breaks down. Wichita on Saturday, 98 degrees. By Monday, 79. That's still above average, but feels much better. Jackson, 97. By Monday, it's 93. Jacksonville, 89. Still staying in those upper 80s to low 90s, but temperatures will start to moderate a bit. But even at those lows, those are temperatures that are still well above where they should be, even in August. Gabe?
But, Al, there is some weekend relief. Thanks so much. Tonight, a woman being held hostage in desperate need of help using a food delivery app to send a secret message. Stephen Romo has the story of the alert restaurant that was paying close attention and helped rescue her.
This is the Chipper Truck Cafe in Yonkers, New York, where an employee took a Grubhub order for a breakfast sandwich that had a secret, desperate plea from a hostage needing help.
When I see the message on the paper, I said, just call the police and don't send the food.
Police say that message was from a woman being held against her will. That woman wrote her plea in the special instructions section of the Grubhub order. It read, in part, "Please call the police. Please don't make it obvious." Chipper Truck owner Alice Bernejo has long told employees the importance of reading the entire order request.
They know, check it, make sure and check it before it all goes into the bag. And thankfully, that's what saved the girl.
Her employees called the police, who responded to this Bronx home. According to the criminal complaint, 32-year-old Kimoy Royal said he went to answer the door. He was expecting a delicious hot breakfast. Instead, he got the cold fist of justice. Police arrested him, and he's being held on a $25,000 bail, according to Department of Corrections public records. The NYPD says he's charged with rape, strangulation, a criminal sex act, unlawful imprisonment, and more. We reached out to his public defender in the Bronx, but have not yet heard back. Bernejo posted this story online so that others would know that checking those details could be a lifesaver.
I wanted people to know if it ever happened to them or if they were in that situation, this is something that they can do and this can help them.
And that good deed did not go unnoticed. Grubhub Chief Operating Officer Eric Ferguson called Bernejo to reward her and her staff for their quick thinking.
And he was so happy about what we did, and he offered us $5,000 for just doing what we did and paying attention to the notes.
Grubhub telling NBC they hope the money, quote, helps the business and reminds all of their customers of what amazing people they are.
And Stephen Romo joins us now. Stephen, a terrifying situation, and the suspect has been accused of similar crimes before?
Yeah, shockingly, Gabe, just a couple days before this incident, Kimoy Royal is accused of trying to rape and sexually assault a 26-year-old woman, and his next court date for the most recent incident is coming up on Friday.
Stephen Romo, thanks so much. So glad that restaurant was paying attention. Still ahead tonight, master of disguise, the man wanted in connection to the murder of an American woman in Mexico, how he keeps managing to evade authorities, and what we're just learning from the FBI. Plus, the moment a man uses an excavator to attack police, who police were trying to arrest, that sparked the bizarre confrontation. And rush hour rescue, 2 NYPD officers saving a woman from subway tracks after she suffered a medical emergency. What those officers told Top Story about their life or death decision to jump in. Back now to an ongoing manhunt. The FBI is asking for the public's help to find the man wanted for questioning in connection with the murder of a San Diego woman found dead in Mexico. The man uses multiple aliases and has a criminal history of fraud, including escaping from a Hawaiian jail. Juan Venegas has more.
Tonight, the FBI is in the hunt for a master of disguise with a criminal record of fraud across different states and now wanted in connection to his girlfriend's death in Mexico.
He is wanted for questioning in regards to the disappearance and now what we would consider the death of Raquel Sabin.
50-year-old Tyler Adams was arrested in Mexico last week after an Amber Alert was issued for the couple's 7-month-old baby. During that search, authorities found the badly decomposed body of the suspect's girlfriend Raquel Sabin in the trunk of a car. The child eventually found safe and handed over to Mexican Child Services.
The principal suspect is the own father of the baby.
Yet Mexican officials say after his arrest, they discovered the man was wanted in the U.S. Adams had a warrant issued in 2019 after he escaped a work furlough program while serving time for fraud charges in Hawaii. Mexican authorities making the decision to hand him over to U.S. officials as the Mexican investigation into the death of his girlfriend continues.
So we put the father of the baby into custody of the immigration authorities.
So he was given to CBP?
Yes, he was given to the Customs Border Protection.
Yet the following day, the FBI informed he was once again on the loose.
In terms of the handover at the port of entry, I can say this. Mr. Adams was able to get through the port of entry. He used a fake ID. When they ran that ID, there were no wants or warrants showing. So that enabled him to come into the U.S. As it relates to the handoff between Mexican authorities and CBP at the port of entry, the FBI was not present there.
Customs and Border Protection has not responded to multiple requests from NBC News to discuss the case. The victim's family left wondering how Adams managed to use a fake ID to enter the U.S. as a free man after the handoff.
I have a feeling he's going to harm somebody else.
And I do not want that to, I don't want anybody to have to deal with something like this.
This afternoon, some good news for the family as Mexican authorities handed over the couple's baby to the victim's family. Yet the suspect remains at large, with the FBI informing the last identity he used is under the name Aaron Bain.
How does someone use so many identities and get away with it the way this man has done it?
Yeah, I think that's the nature of, whether it's identity theft or stolen identities, financial fraud, that's the nature of his criminal background. What's unique here is, I would say, he is an escapee with a white-collar background that made his way to the mainland.
Wow, incredible story. Guad Venegas joins us now from Los Angeles. And Guad, as we just saw in your report, Adams has changed his appearance over the years. So are authorities concerned he might change that appearance now that they're looking for him?
Gabe, the agent we spoke to told us that the FBI is operating under the assumption that the swelling you can see in that mugshot and the disfigured facial features could mean he did something to try to change his physical appearance. Now, we don't have confirmation that he's had anything like plastic surgery done, but from the looks of it, it's a strong possibility, Gabe.
Guad Venegas in Los Angeles. Guad, thank you. Now to New York City, and the incredible moment caught on camera of a woman's near-death experience on the subway tracks. Tonight, she's grateful to be alive, and it's all thanks to 2 NYPD officers who leapt into action. Rahima Ellis sat down with all of them to bring you their heart-stopping story.
Terrifying moments on a New York City subway platform.
I don't remember walking towards the platform. I don't remember falling. And I don't remember getting up.
What happened to Elizabeth Johnston was captured on police body cameras. As she was on her way to work during morning rush hour, she had an epileptic seizure. Luckily, NYPD officers Rochelle Paul Burton and Ghani Muhammad were patrolling just steps behind.
So I called her out. I'm like, ma'am, but she didn't reply back. So I ran after her, just trying to, stop her or, because at that point, I don't know if she was suffering anything. Or, if she seemed a little disoriented, but other than that, she just passed me 15, 20 seconds before that, and she was walking fine. But by the time I got to her, she fell on a track, and the way she fell, once I got there, you could see her head had hit the track, the metal track. So at that time, I just jumped down and I picked her up.
Did you think twice before you jumped onto the tracks?
No.
It was a daring move just as a train was coming.
I have to get her up, or I have to get her safety.
Because if you don't,
she could have been killed. There is no ifs.
Did it run through your head that this is a life and death situation?
That's why we are NYPD. That's why, we wear this uniform, and that's the way, we were trained.
It was scary.
Partners for almost 4 years, they know each other so well, they acted instinctively. When Muhammad jumped onto the tracks and pushed Elizabeth up, Officer Paul Burton was there to pull her onto the platform. They didn't discuss it. No conversation needed.
I was just there at the right time. Any other person would do the same thing.
Elizabeth says she has no memory of what happened, but watching the video that went viral is overwhelming for her.
My heart is throbbing. It felt weird to look at it, because I've never seen myself have a seizure, and to have one that severe and actually have video, it was a different feeling.
They're calling both of you heroes.
If I wasn't there, if there was any other police officer from NYPD was there, he was going to do the same thing.
But Elizabeth doesn't see it that way.
Obviously, I have 2 guardian angels now, and I will never forget about them.
And Rahima Ellis joins us now from police headquarters in Lower Manhattan. Rahima, just an incredible story. If those officers hadn't been there, she probably wouldn't still be with us right now. But you just spoke with her a short time ago. Is she still in shock?
I think so. She's a very calm young woman, 25 years old. And one of the things I think that leads her to be in shock, but totally not grasping what's going on, was at the moment of the seizure, she basically blanked out, and then she fell and hit her head. So she didn't know what was coming toward her. She was unconscious. And that, in some ways, may have saved her from becoming more anxious and flustered and floundering as the officers tried to save her and get her off of that platform before the train came barreling down the tracks.
Yeah, just amazing. Rahima, events like this can be life-changing. So is Elizabeth planning on doing anything differently after this scare?
I didn't get the sense of that because while she acknowledges living with epilepsy, she says there's challenges to her life, but she gave me the sense that she intends to live her life to the fullest. Thanks to these officers, she gets to do just that. And as for the officers, they'll be back on duty tomorrow. Gabe?
Raheem, Alice, thanks so much. When we come back, the desperate search for a missing American couple. The newlyweds from Virginia sailing towards Portugal. When they hit rough seas, their last known whereabouts next. Back now with Top Stories news feed and the search for a Virginia couple who vanished in North Atlantic. The newlyweds were sailing towards islands off Portugal when they hit rough weather just outside the Virginia coast. They were last reported turning back to shore. The Coast Guard now searching the area, but has found no evidence of them or the boat. A Vermont man facing charges after he attacked state troopers with an excavator. New dashcam video shows the man swinging part of the construction equipment at the troopers as they tried to arrest his son and wife. One trooper brandishing his firearm but did not shoot, as the other kept the mother and son restrained. All three people were arrested. Those officers were not hurt. Following up on a story we brought you yesterday, the FDA has ordered Juul Labs to stop selling e-cigarette products in the U.S. The agency says Juul provided insufficient and conflicting data about potentially harmful chemicals in its liquid pods. The company says it is seeking a stay and is exploring all options, including an appeal. And Brittany Griner will be honored at the WNBA All-Star Game. Griner, who's been in Russian detention since February, was named as an honorary starter for the game in July. The league's commissioner saying there was, quote, no doubt Griner would have been included if she were not in Russian custody. Griner has appeared in every All-Star game since joining the WNBA in 2013, after he was attacked by a shark off the coast of California. Witnesses say the swimmer is lucky to be alive thanks to the help of some good Samaritans. Carrie Sanders has the latest.
From Water Rescue, Lovers Point.
The call went out just after 10:30 Wednesday morning.
We're getting a report that somebody got attacked by a shark. They're still in the water, and there are about 4 people in the water trying to get to them.
Officers responding to the report of a shark attack at Lovers Point Beach in Pacific Grove, California. The victim swimming about 150 yards offshore when the attack happened.
We could hear someone calling for help, 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 and then splashing the water.
Amy Johns and Paul Bandy were paddleboarding nearby.
As soon as we got close to him, we could see that he had severe lacerations on his arm and leg.
Heath Braddock, a surfer who was working with kids in the area, also heard the cries for help.
So I grabbed a couple boards and took 2 boards out. As I approached, I saw kind of the pool of blood. It was probably the size of a table or a car.
This video shows Amy, Paul, and Heath getting to the swimmer at about the same time, putting him onto the extra board and then frantically paddling him back to shore. The victim's injuries, extensive.
His leg was almost severed.
Severely injured,
yeah.
All the way down to the bone.
Mm-hmm.
And a lucky break. Paul is a cop, Amy is a nurse.
Paul was calling tourniquet, so like people knew on the shore ready in advance to have things that they could use. And so people jumped right in. There was a physician that was there, a nurse, myself and some other bystanders really helped out a lot.
The victim also suffered significant injuries to his torso and arm.
Yeah, definitely the worst injuries I've ever seen, of any accident.
After the attack, the Coast Guard used boats and drones to search for the shark, but were unable to track it down. Lifelong Pacific Grove resident Kevin Phillips, whose security cameras captured the rescue, says that as horrific as the incident was, he was inspired to see so many people jump in to help.
I was really struck by the courage of those people that went out and to save him.
The locals here at Pacific Grove say that they have never seen a shark here at the beach. But we do know, according to what researchers have discovered, that there are more juvenile great whites here that they say is a result of warming ocean temperatures.
Turning now to monkeypox, New York City today offering the vaccine to at-risk groups as officials scramble to contain the global outbreak. NBC's Stephanie Gosk has the latest.
Monkeypox vaccines were given out for the first time, only available for those at high risk, gay or bisexual men who have had multiple partners in the last 2 weeks. But the one clinic in Manhattan giving out shots was overwhelmed by demand, closing its doors to walk-ins by midday.
I have monkeypox. I was notified by a sexual partner that I had encountered.
Actor Tim Hickernell is suffering from sores and flu-like symptoms.
What started as 3 sores became more, and even to this day, I feel like I'm finding new ones on my body. Like today, I just found one on my hand.
According to the CDC, there are 173 cases in the U.S. across 25 states. Most cases are mild.
At this point, the general population should not be worried that monkeypox is going to cause another pandemic. We're just not there yet.
But high-risk groups are being asked to remain vigilant.
It appears that intimate partner contact is the key component and that you have to have close physical contact.
Monkeypox is not nearly as contagious as COVID. Still, the World Health Organization is considering declaring a global health emergency. A decision could come by the end of the week. While here in New York, Hickernell hopes to help by telling his story.
I just feel it's important to educate one another and look out for each other and just keep talking about it.
Awareness, say medical experts, will be the best defense. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
Now to the Americas, focusing on stories from the U.S. and Latin America. In Mexico, abortion providers have seen a huge increase in Americans traveling for the procedure as women in states with newly restrictive abortion laws seek treatment outside the United States. This as Americans await a Supreme Court ruling that could overturn Roe v. Wade. Morgan Radford has more.
For many women, Dr. Franz Theard is their last chance. His New Mexico practice is one of just a few remaining abortion clinics along the U.S.-Mexico border, just 1 mile west of the Texas state line.
We've increased by 100, so we do about 250 a month now.
Abortions per month?
Per month.
That jump since last September, when a Texas law banned abortions as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. Before that, the state allowed them up to 20 weeks.
Not doing an abortion because you're 6 weeks or 5 weeks is almost like not doing abortions at all.
But some of those who can't find the help they're looking for across state lines are leaving the country entirely. Many American women are coming here to Mexico to buy abortion pills. The most commonly used does not require a prescription and costs about 1/10 of the price. We're about to meet 2 women who provide abortion services out of their home here in Mexico. Just outside of Monterrey, activists Vanessa Jimenez and Sandra Cardona founded La Aborteria, where they provide the abortion-inducing drug misoprostol and guide women on how to take it. They say they've seen a dramatic surge of American clients since the Texas law went into effect.
Con 2 o 3 chicas de Estados Unidos al año.
5 por semana.
Sí.
So before you were seeing 2 to 3 American women a year. Now you're seeing 5 American women a week.
A veces más.
And sometimes more.
Sí.
¿Y de dónde vienen específicamente? And where are they coming from specifically?
Que han venido aquí a México de Texas.
So the majority of women you're seeing are coming from Texas. And they're not alone. Another Mexican organization, which opened its doors in January, says Americans now make up 25% of its customers. Can you give me an example? What do the women coming from Texas tell you?
La mayoría viene con mucho miedo.
It's fear, not only of going to jail, but the economic penalties. And you're saying even though there hasn't been a case since the law changed in September in Texas, it's enough to inspire so much fear. A fear that's driving many women even further from home. Morgan Radford, NBC News, Monterrey, Mexico.
Coming up, the investigation into the death of a soccer legend. Why Diego Maradona's doctors and nurses are now facing homicide charges. Stay with us. Now to Top Stories Global Watch, and we begin with the latest on that devastating earthquake in Afghanistan. New video shows people digging through rubble by hand to try and find any more survivors. However, in many areas, the debris is just too thick and requires construction equipment many villages do not have. Funerals have begun for the 1,000 victims. Officials say the full extent of the damage is unknown, and the death toll is likely to rise. Massive protests in Ecuador taking over the country's capital city. New video shows thousands of protesters reaching the legislative building in Quito while lawmakers were inside. Authorities firing tear gas and smoke grenades to clear the group. Demonstrators demanding the government reduce fuel prices, fight crime, and address unemployment, among other things. Officials say at least 4 people have died and hundreds are injured. And the doctors and nurses who cared for soccer legend Diego Maradona before his death will be tried for homicide in Argentina. An investigation found the 8 doctors, nurses, and a psychologist acted in a, quote, inappropriate, deficient, and reckless manner while treating the soccer star. Maradona, who battled substance abuse for years, died in 2020 from cardiac arrest at the age of 60. When we come back, 2 pen pals from the Vietnam War meeting in person for the first time, how they found each other more than 50 years later. Finally tonight, the emotional meeting 50 years in the making. A Long Island elementary school student exchanging letters with a soldier stationed in Vietnam. Back then, she never would have expected this. It all started as a Christmas present in December of 1971.
The best present anyone can get
is a letter from people back home.
4th grader Kathy Ryan and her class on Long Island were sending Christmas cards to soldiers stationed in Vietnam. Receiving that letter, Army helicopter medic Dominic Cutalo. He didn't hesitate to write back.
I'm thinking to myself, you know, this might be the last letter you ever write. It means a lot to a soldier to know that people are thinking of them.
A half-century later, Kathy still has that letter from Dominic. She always wondered what happened to him.
It was a special letter. It was something I wanted to hold on to. I mean, I never imagined that I would meet the man who wrote the letter.
That all changed earlier this month when an online search revealed Dominic was a neighbor.
I'm not passing up a hug. Get over here. Get.
And remarkably, they met for the first time at a local veterans event.
I'm so glad you made it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
Kathy returned that letter in person to Dominic. He plans on proudly displaying it at his local VFW.
To actually have it come full circle, oh, that's unbelievable.
These 2 pen pals, now with a lifetime of stories to catch up on.
I never had a face to the name, and it's just so wonderful. I think we'll be friends for quite some time.
We want to thank our station here in New York for their help with that story. Thanks so much for watching Top Story. For Tom Llamas, I'm Gabe Gutierrez in New York. Stay right there. More news now is on the way.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.